Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl and today I'm here to bring you something kind of different, and that is my mid-year check-in. Now I will link the video down below where at the beginning of the year I talked about my 2017 bookish goals. I'm going to go over those goals, tell you how close I am to completing them, why, if I'm even close at all, because some of these goals I feel like I got in way over my head for. So yeah, I hope to obviously do a video at the end of the year where I tell you if I accomplished these goals, how close I was, but yeah. So without further ado, let's just hop into it. So the first goal I had for 2017 was to read 60 books. I am currently at 31 books. That is, according to Goodreads, one ahead of schedule. So yeah, which is pretty good because I, for a long time in the month of March, April-ish, I got to be about 9 books behind because I basically didn't read really anything during those months. And I made up for it in the month of May where I read like 12 books. So yeah, my reading has been pretty erratic. And this year so far, I'll read hardly anything some months and then I'll read just a shit ton of books in the next month. So yeah, I hope to get to 60. Last year, I was originally going to do 60. Knew I wasn't going to get anywhere near that, so I actually lowered my goal to 50, and I think I did manage that, if not a little more than 50, probably close to 55. I don't remember exactly. So yeah, we'll see if I get to 60. As of right now, I am right on track. So this next goal is one where I feel like I got way in over my head on this, and this is to read my bookshelf, my TBR shelf, down to 30 books. And if I don't accomplish reading them down to 30 books, purge it down to only 30 books left. And some of you might be like, 30 books is a huge TBR. Why are you complaining? And I get you. But I have like 100 books on my TBR. So that means I need to read 70 books, which is more than my yearly goal in the next 6 months. So I can tell you right off the bat that's not going to happen. I'm hoping to read as many as I can. We shall see. I'm going to try my best to stick to my goal of reading as many as I can and then purging what I don't read, so I only keep around 30 on my shelf because I am going to be moving next spring and I don't want to move with 100 plus books I haven't even read yet. We will see. Right now I'm not really on track for that goal. I've actually read quite a few off my TBR. I'll give myself credit for that. However, I've also been going to the library and buying books, which I don't need to be doing, but so goal number 3 is one I feel like I have definitely accomplished, and that is stop feeling guilty for DNFing books. I have in the past felt really guilty if I've read a book, or if I've been trying to read a book rather, and I'm just hating it, or I'm not even interested in it, and I'm just pushing myself through it because I refuse to DNF it. Because, oh, what if it gets better in the last 5 pages? Spoiler alert, they never got better. I made a goal this year where I was going to not feel guilty for DNFing books, and I feel like I've accomplished that. I've DNF'd quite a few books this year. In fact, I have a video on the books I've DNF'd that I recently put up. However, that video does include some books I've DNF'd in previous years. However, I do feel like I've been better about it this year, where I'll start a book and I'll be like 50 pages in and be like, this is shit, or I'm just not feeling this, and I'll put it down. Most of the time, if I put it down, I will also unhaul it. There have been a few times where I've put a book down and I'm like, I'll want to go back to this, but it's just not the right time. For the most part, I've been pretty good about DNFing books. Now that being said, I haven't DNF'd a whole lot of them because I've been pretty good about picking up books I'm actually interested in. So question number 4. So goal number 4 is something that kind of goes along with my purging my bookshelf things, and that is kind of whittle the books I actually have read and own down to only the books that kind of represent me and make me feel happy and that I want to keep. And I feel like I have been pretty good about this. If you guys have seen my series of unhauls, which I will have the playlist for that link down below, I have been pretty good about going through both my TBR shelf and my red shelf and unhauling books that I'm just like, I gave this a 2-star 3 years ago, why am I holding on to it? Which I've been guilty of in the past for sure, and so I feel pretty good about the books that I've kept, that I have read. I'm probably going to go through my bookshelves again in the coming months and get rid of even more because I've been kind of in a decluttery mode. Some people call it nesting. do you nest when you get married, or is that only when you're pregnant? Because I'm not pregnant, so I don't know if nesting is the proper term. Anyway, so I think as a whole I've been pretty good about it. Obviously, like I said, there are probably more books I can get rid of that don't really represent me, but I think as a whole I've been pretty good about it. So goal number 5 is one I have not been good about whatsoever, and that is actually keep up a TBR jar, because I've tried them in the past and I failed, and this is no exception this year. I have my TBR jar, and occasionally when I'm like not sure what to read, I'll go through, like I'll pick a book out and I'll read from it, but I don't usually film that. And occasionally I'll pick out a book and be like, no, I don't want to read that one. So I kind of make the point of it moot. And then I haven't been keeping up it when I get new books, adding the names to it. Occasionally I'll have to go through and take them all out and purge through and pick through the ones, because there'll be like 4 or 5 books that I read that names are still in the jar because I haven't used it in forever. So yeah, all in all, keeping up a TBR jar has not been successful. If you manage to keep up a TBR jar, how? Leave me a comment down below, because like I always get so motivated to do it and then I just don't. So oh my god, I did it again. So goal number 6, and my last goal that I had set for myself, was to stop feeling pressured to read super hyped titles and then feeling guilty when I don't. And what I mean by that is, there's those 4 or 5 books that just at any given point are going around BookTube. Every single person has a video on them. Every single person's talking about them. Everyone's raving about it. The hype is real. But then if I don't read those books, you're like, oh my god, am I not a valid booktuber? I'm not reading these super popular book. In fact, I read a book from the 80s that no one's ever heard of, and that's what I review. At some points I do feel not guilty, because I don't think I've done anything wrong, but almost like maybe I would be a better booktuber if I was forcing myself to read these popular books that I really don't have any interest in. But then at the beginning of the year, I realized how ridiculous that is, because as a reader, you should read whatever you want to read, as opposed to being pressured to read something because it's popular, because other people are reading it. And so I think as a whole, I've been pretty good about that. I have picked up some popular titles and reviewed them on my channel because I've been interested in them, and usually I'll get them from the library, but I've also picked up some titles that very few people have ever heard of, I feel, or very few reviews of. I've not seen anyone review The Demonologist, but I read it and I reviewed it. So I think I have a pretty healthy mix of popular and I don't want to say unpopular, but lesser known books on my channel, and I feel pretty good about that. I don't feel nearly as pressured to read the super big titles, because along with the pressure to read the super big titles, I also felt pressured to read them really fast so I can get my review up as soon as possible, so that it would get more views. And that is not the way I wanted to. At the beginning of the year, I decided that was not the way I wanted to run my channel. And so yeah, like I said, I made it a goal for myself to not run my channel that way, and I think for the most part I've done a pretty good job. So yeah, that's my mid-year book check-in. I feel like for the most part I've actually done pretty good. There are some goals I had where it's just not going to happen, like the TBR jar. But for the most part, I feel like I set pretty decent goals for myself at the beginning of the year. I know my limits. I'm not going to be like, I have a goal of reading 200 books when I read 50 books last year. I know roughly what my limit is as a reader, and so I feel like I set pretty decent goals for myself, and I'm pretty pleased with the progress. So anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow me on all of my social media, leave me a comment down below telling me some of your bookish goals and how have you been attaining them. Have they worked for you? And like I said, if you keep up with the TBR jar, let me know your secrets down below, because I just can't. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!